You are the place where the universe is actually awakening to the fact that it is creative. And up until this point, the creation of life itself has been on that sort of macrocosmic, somewhat generic, statistically oriented way. But when we wake up and are conscious about how to use the law, do you see, we are actually furthering life. We are now the place where evolution is happening. We are the place where new creativity is unfolding. We are the place where more love, more joy, more hope, more abundance, more health, more good is seeking to express itself in ways it's never been expressed before, for ourselves, for our loved ones, for the world. Hold the vision, be the power, soar with love. That is both our annual theme, and of course we're kicking it off this month to kind of give a little bit of an overview. So last week we talked about hold the vision. This week we're talking about be the power, and then we'll talk about soar with love. But we want to kind of almost lost my book. We want to recap last week a little bit to give us a springboard for this week. And I'm going to read from The Art of Life because Karen and I are re-falling in love with this book again and again. Oh my God. We actually were just going to sit up here and read you the chapter, but that would be not good. That would not be good. Let us start with a simple proposition that life, which is spirit or intelligence, is the sole and only creative energy in the universe. This life principle always existed and will always continue to exist. You are part of its self-expression. Therefore, the whole desire of life is to give you more life. Wait, don't we have a slide for this little quote?
We were to do all
this first.
We
were supposed to do all this first.
I should take the clicker over now, or no? Are you good?
You can, sure, you can.
It's all right.
I'm so excited, I just jumped right in. Okay, so be the power.
Yes.
Okay, and so now we can start with our
Talk about, yes, here we go, teaching symbol thing.
So last week we talked about the top portion of the teaching symbol, right? Spirit, presence. This week we're focusing, be the power, focuses on the middle section of our teaching symbol, which we're going to talk about, the creative power, the law, and how to use it. And then we'll follow up towards the end of the month with adding that last piece of our teaching symbol. So if you are unfamiliar with our teaching symbol, right, it's not a religious icon. It is actually an opportunity for us to remember what it is that we believe about the universe, how we understand it to work. So, shall I start again? Yeah. Let us start with the simple proposition that life, which is spirit or intelligence, is the sole and only creative energy in the universe. This life principle always existed and will always continue to exist. You are part of its self-expression. Therefore, the whole desire of life is to give you more life. And since it is all life, it has all life to give you. It loves you because in creating you, it has given some part of itself to you. You are dear to life, beloved by it. In creating you, it has poured itself into you. You could not ask for greater love than this, and more love could not be given. That's the presence. That life, the presence, is the life that is you.
Yeah, and in this presence, this life that is us, we are absolutely undivided from it. So we love this as well. I told you she was right. We wanted to read the whole chapter to you, but we're not gonna. Our difficulty is that we have been trying to unite that which was never divided. Right? Think about that. Spending our whole life attempting to unite something that wasn't divided in the first place. We have been looking for life outside the self. We are like the fish trying to find the waters of life in which it is already immersed. When Jesus said, "The kingdom of God is at hand," And when he explained that the kingdom of heaven is within, this is what he was talking about. So this kingdom of heaven that is within us, Ernest Holmes says, is the God within us. It is the Word of God, and it is the power of God within us. The divine union which Jesus proclaimed, we must rediscover and make use of, for we know that God can do anything. So all this time, perhaps we've been attempting to bring back something we think is divided, life itself within us, and it never has been. And this power is within us. The kingdom of heaven is within us. And so we want to be this power. Well, what is this power? What is this power?
So we call this power the law of cause and effect, right? For those of you who've been in classes, you're familiar with this. We call this power the law of cause and effect. So when we think about the teaching symbol, we see that the circle reminds us of the wholeness, that it is actually all God. It's not just out there. It's out there and in here all at the same time. It's all the same thing. And there is a presence and a principle. There's a presence that is the impulse. We talked about that last week. And there is a principle, the way the impulse moves into creation. We also call it love, which is the self-givingness of spirit into creation, into you, to be you, and the law, which is the creative process, the way in which creation happens. So we have principle and presence, where we should say presence and principle, love and law. This is our teaching. And both of them are equally important. Both of them are equally necessary and valuable for us to really embody and embrace so that we can fully, consciously engage in our lives and in this beautiful thing that we call our human experience.
I'm so glad you joined us today. That makes you a part of CSLDallas. And we love that our community continues to grow. And we also love to give great spiritual content. And a way that you can participate in our community is financially give to it. It's easy to do so. Go to CSLDallas.org and hit the give button. Or you can set up a text giving mechanism at 972-954-4404, a safe and secure way to send us money whenever you watch a great message like this. So thanks for giving, and buckle up, because here comes the spiritual content.
So the power is this principle that is the way creation happens.
Yeah, and so there are certain qualities of the law. And so we want to think about what are these qualities of this power, this law. First of all, it's impersonal. It's absolutely impersonal. So what that means is it doesn't leave anyone out. It doesn't get to say, oh, all of you are okay, but Karen, you're not. It's just impersonal.
Yeah, which is really important, right? It doesn't matter where you came from. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter whether you're, in any sense of the word, who you want to be. It's utterly impersonal, like mathematics doesn't say, I'm sorry, you're not a very nice person today, so 2 + 2 doesn't equal 4. Right? Do you see? That's the impersonal nature of the law.
Yeah, and there's no limit to it. And so there's no limit to it. There's no limit to the possibilities. It's limitless. And there's no limit to how many. So like mathematics. I love doing this in foundations. Everybody hold up this. Come on. Now everybody hold up that. Okay, so 1 + 1 equals? Oh, y'all are so good. Now, so the law of mathematics was, wait, keep it holding. Some are even more emphasized. That's good. So the law of mathematics is always at work, right? And it's impersonal. We just talked about that. There's no limit. Did at any point the law of mathematics say, stop, we've got 14, can't do any more? Hold them up.
This is really important. I know this is really a silly little example, right? But this is where we misunderstand the law. We think we can use it up, or we can only use it for big things, or we can only use it for important things, or right? You can't use it up.
And let them down just for a second. Just for a second. Okay, now, again. Did the law say, oh, no, you only get one today? One of these? No. Now, it's always at work. Always. Always. So the law, back to the law of mathematics, where it's just always there until we decide, I need to add up what's in my checkbook. It's always there. 1 + 1. Now, look, it's all there. 2. It's present. Everybody online, they're doing this too. And they're like, so there's no limit to it. It's always at work. And was anybody left out unless you decided to not participate? No one was left out. The law didn't say, wait a second, I'm only going to do this half of the sanctuary over here, not y'all.
Well, and the other thing is that it's automatic. So whether or not you did raise your fingers, the law of mathematics was still working. So this law of cause and effect is already in place. You don't turn it on. You don't decide, okay, now I'm going to do an affirmation, I'm going to use the law. Now I'm going to do a spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer, and I'm going to turn the law on in some form or fashion. But we also don't have to make it work. We don't plant a seed in the soil and then have a discussion with the soil about how it's going to make that seed grow. Well, I don't know, maybe you do.
This is what I want you to do. I want you to do this, and this to get that plan out.
Right, and not just to talk to the seed, but to talk to the soil. Okay, now don't forget to take the rain and bring a little nitrogen, right? We don't do all that. It's automatic. You plant the seed in the soil.
And rain at 4 o'clock.
The soil and the plant know exactly what to do to grow. Do you see that? It's automatic. Cause automatically creates an effect.
And it's intelligent.
And it's always doing that. And it's intelligent. It always knows how. Right? It always knows how to do that. Whatever the cause is, it knows how to bring about the effect. Because we don't know how to grow. We don't know how to grow a seed into a tomato plant. We know we have to plant it. We have to water it and fertilize it. But we sort of have to leave it alone to do its own thing, right? So it knows how to do that. The law of cause and effect knows how to bring the effect about the moment that the cause is put into place.
Okay, and it's actually at all times waiting for us to use it. There it is waiting. You ready? Go. It's happy. It's waiting for us to use it. Ernest Holmes talks about this. Yes, this one. It fell out.
Uh-oh.
It's all right.
It is. It's
That's all right. I know where it is.
That's why we wrote down the page numbers, too.
Where did it say to go? Okay, right there.
Right there.
Always be prepared.
Page 17. Page 17 for any of you who are following along.
In this copy. The intelligence of life is our intelligence. It is the very presence of inspiration, guidance, and direction. It is waiting for us to use it, to make itself manifest in our lives. This does not mean that it seeks to control us. It merely waits for us to use it. Now, I don't know about you, for me, and I think for many that I've met, we tend to get this backwards. All right? It is waiting for us to use it to make itself manifest in our life. We're sort of backwards. We're waiting for it to make itself manifest in our life, and we're not using it consciously.
Right.
And then we go, it doesn't work. So it's waiting on us to use it.
Or we're waiting for inspiration, and we think that that's going to be Spirit and the law doing it for us. Right? Instead of us actually saying, no, this.
Yeah, and so if it's waiting on us...
You know, you're still shorting out. That is just so weird. I wonder if it's...
Wait a second. All right. I'll
Okay.
stand still.
Okay, not too still, because
Not
you're
too
cute when
still.
you jump around, so go ahead. It's true, right? Isn't that true? Go, sorry.
Animated. Knowing that it's always at work, right? It's impersonal, that there's no limit to it. That is so strange. Because you'll understand why later. Maybe it's the little packy pack thing. Anyway, waiting for us to use it, and it's impersonal, and it's super intelligent. We better know how to use it. Don't you think?
Right. So what's the first thing that we have to learn about how to use it? Is not to use it. The first thing we have to learn is, what are we using it for? So we have to actually decide what is the what that we want to create. What is the what? What is the experience that we want to have, the quality of life that we want to go for, the expansion of the good that we already have, the creation of something brand new, whether it's a creative piece of art or a new business or simply a deeper relationship with the divine. We actually have to decide the what. Remember, Karen said it's waiting for us to use it. Because until we give it a new what, it's simply using whatever it is that we have back here in our consciousness about what we believe about life and what we think we want and have, or what we think we can have. So the first thing, the most important thing, is our job is the what. And if you're like me, sometimes I don't actually know what that is. I don't always know what I want. I don't always know how I want my life to expand or where I think I should go. I'm looking for the right answer. I want Spirit to somehow give me a sign and a promise that it's going to work out. And I want all kinds of things before I'm willing to decide. Or maybe I'm just not sure that I'm willing to be bold enough and audacious enough to say, no, this is the life that I want to have. So the very first thing about using the law is we have to set what the law is, what the cause is in this law of cause and effect.
And the second thing that in this how to use it is we have to be the master of our own thinking. So we have to be the master. Ernest Holmes tells us that the one who controls their thinking controls their destiny. And so to be the master of this thinking that we do, I was thinking about this and I was like, okay, be the master of your thinking. And as I was thinking about that, I'm like, it's like riding a horse. Who's ridden a horse? Oh, good. So we're on the horse and we've got the reins, and all of a sudden we want to go to a specific place. It's a beach. We got to go down a path to the beach because we want to let this horse go wild on the beach, right? But we've got the reins, and all of a sudden as we're riding the horse wants to go back to the barn.
As horses are wont to do.
Carrot's back at the barn. And so it turns and wants to go back to the barn. Well, we want to go to the beach. So do we just let the horse go where it wants? No, we control it. We have the reins. We're controlling where this horse is that we want to go. And so we're controlling. We're the master of our own thinking.
Yeah, and so when Karen was sharing with me that she had this revelation, I said to her, and maybe you already have made the same connection. This example is directly in alignment with Plato's example in the Republic from 500 BCE. Plato says that our lives are about two horses. We have the horse of our mind and a horse of our emotions. And we are the charioteer. And our job is to manage the reins. Now, we don't have to beat the horse. We don't have to haul it around and hurt its mouth, just make it go where we want it to go, right? We build a relationship with the horse, or the horses in this case. We build a relationship. We learn how to work with them, and we learn how to guide them where we want to go. And when our mind and our emotions, Plato says, are in alignment, and we are the master, it's not running, the horses, one or the other, isn't running away with us, and we are the master, then the chariot of our life goes in the direction that we choose. You see, this is what it means to be the master of our thinking. We're either thinking about the what, that is the cause that we're using the law on, or we're thinking about something that is the opposite of that cause. Do you see? We're either thinking about, in alignment with the cause that we are seeking to outpicture, the what that we have decided on, or we're thinking about all the reasons why we can't have it, how we can't have it, we can't figure out how to do it, we're not sure that we deserve it, we don't think it's really going to work out, we don't really know.
Oh, that never happens.
Right? Do you see? That's the horse going wherever it darn well pleases. And we're not taking the reins. So how to use the law is to understand that it is there, that we are using it, and we have to dwell on the good. We have to dwell on the outcome. We have to dwell on the abundance of the universe showing up as our abundance, the love of the universe showing up in our healthy relationships, the joy of the universe showing up in our ability to be content with our lives, whatever that is. You see, we have to dwell on the good. We have to keep our thinking focused on the what and the quality of God that what is bringing forward. We have to not allow the horse of our mind or our emotions to run away into lack and limitation.
Mm-hmm. And as we're focusing on this what, we're identifying ourselves with our desires, we're keeping that in front of us, then that starts this process. And, you know, last Sunday, for those of you who were here, this ear mic was causing problems, right? Who was here last Sunday? Mm-hmm. Oh, yay. Yeah. Uh-huh. And repeat offenders, I love it. And so I stood up here and the mic wasn't working, and
really
we tried some other things and all this, and I had to use a hand mic, and I don't really like that, and I just said, no, this is the last Sunday that I do this. Right? And I focused on that desire. And I said, I want a new ear mic. Well, we don't have it in the budget for, these little things are expensive. They're very expensive. And I held on to that desire. This is one small. I identified myself with that I would stand in front of you this Sunday. And as it turned out, there's a woman, Karen Matthews. Hi, Karen.
Hi, Karen.
There's a woman in North Carolina. That's why I'm waving there. That's been watching us for 4 years. And she's been watching our talk. She's been engaging with us recently. She's been sending us emails. We've been answering. And she gave a donation. And she marked wish list. She specified something on the wish list. And so she gave a donation. Thank you, Karen. And then she said, well, is there anything else you want? I wrote back, an ear mic. Oh, my gosh, it would be so great. And she was like, okay. And she gave another donation. I didn't have to know the how. I'm like, I didn't focus on it's not in our budget. That's just not. I just identified with an ear mic standing in front of you so that I didn't have to hold this. Right?
Right. So we identify it with our desires. We dwell on the good. We turn away from the negative. And there is this fabulous quote that you're going to pull out of the book.
Yes.
Because Karen fell in love with this quote, actually. She read it to me 4 or 5 times in the last few days, which I thought was really great because I really love this quote.
All right. You are using the law of life every time you think. Oh, wow. There we go. We are on page 22.
No, wait a minute. You need to go back because we have skipped this fabulous quote right here.
Oh, yes.
That one. That's the one you've been reading to me.
Oh. Okay, well, and so this is another how to use it.
We are still in how to use it.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
If we had missed this.
Right. Okay. Negative forces operating in our lives will die a natural death if we practice the habit of being disinterested in them.
Take a picture of that.
We are so overly focused, I think, on what's our negative cause and how are we creating this and, why are we doing these horrible things to ourselves? We become obsessed with the lack and limitation. We call our friends and we talk about how awful it is, and on and on and on, all the ways in which we are interested in what's not working. Right? And in our own negative thinking. We either habitually live in our negative thinking or we are habitually trying to fix our negative thinking. They will die a natural death if we simply stop thinking them. Do you see? So this is the fundamental practice. This is the cornerstone practice of how to use the law. The cornerstone practice of the law portion of love and law, right? Presence is the practice for love. This is the practice for law. Are you ready? This is the discipline of your mind.
Yes.
The discipline of your thinking. You must take the reins. And you must take the reins and focus them toward where you're going, toward the good, toward the outcome that you want. The negative thinking will simply die a natural death. What we tend to do is, well, there's a part of me that wants that, but there's another part of me over here that doesn't feel it, feels bad, it's hard, blah, blah, blah. But there's a part of me that knows the truth, but there's this other part of me. Remember what I said last week? This other part of you is not the truth of who you are. That's the human excuse. That's the lie. We stand in that place where we are the charioteer, and our negative ideas will simply atrophy from lack of use. Right? What do they call it in neuroscience? Synapses that fire together, wire together. If you keep firing down the same negativity, those synapses stay connected. But when you start firing your synapses down a positive expectation of good and the outcome that you want, the other ones, the connection atrophies naturally by lack of use. That's what neuroscience has taught us.
Yeah, so it's we're taking the reins. We've got to have that discipline to every time there's a thought of lack, anytime there's a thought of limitation, anytime negativity comes up, that's the horse going for the barn. And we've got to turn it around and say beach, right? Replace it with what we want. And the more we do that, and we're disciplined in that and not focus on it, and this is someone who literally grew up with someone who focused on negativity. I've had to work at this since being in science of mind, that eventually it will dissolve and we won't have to keep taking the rein. But we must be disciplined on this.
And one of the ways that we're disciplined, the other way that we're disciplined besides dwelling on the good, is that we have to stop focusing on the how. That is not our job. Remember we talked about the law? It's impersonal, it's automatic, it's intelligent, it knows how to do everything. It knew how to bring Karen a new ear mic. And she didn't have to sit around and think about, oh my God.
I didn't have to call you.
You know, who am I going to have to call? What am I going to do? Do we take money from somewhere else? What if we find a cheaper one? Right? Do you see? And this is what we do. So we don't pay attention to the what. We go we blow right past the what into the how. And we're busy figuring it out, and the law's just like waiting. Okay, whenever you get around to it, I'm happy to help.
Tell me what.
We're figuring it out, what we're going to do. And of course, we're changing our mind every 5 seconds. We're going to do this, and we're going to do that, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. And the law's going like, oh, I'm so confused. Okay. It is waiting for us to use it. Now, it is always operating, but what that means, it's waiting for us to use it consciously. Dwell on the good, pick the what, stay disciplined and focused, and get out of the how.
Right, that's the law's job.
That's the law's job. Now you can read that.
Well, we would have missed 3 halves.
I know, we would have. We'd have blown right past them.
That's not good. Okay, here we go. We're on this one.
We're on this one.
All right, you ready? Okay, you are using the law every time you think.
Both the good news and the bad news, right?
Let's say that again. Smile when I say this. You are using the law of life every time you think. No matter how long you may have been using it wrongly in your ignorance. This is Ernest Holmes.
Right, which would mean negatively, right?
Here's the good news. The very day that power. Yes, the very moment you begin to use this power rightly, we've just said how, right? The effects of having used it wrongly will pass from your experience. It
Yes.
yes.
Right? Because
right?
why? Because why? Because the law is automatic. Do you understand that? That's the whole point here. Because we're using a law. It's automatic, it's impersonal. It doesn't say, well, you were thinking that negative thing for a long time. I think you should experience more of that for a little while.
Or you can't do this right because you've done it wrong all this time.
The impersonal, automatic, intelligent knows how to do it. Do you see, this is why it's so important to understand this law of cause and effect.
And he gives three beautiful examples here in this. He says, does it make any difference how long a room has been dark when you introduce a light? Ooh. Yes. Another one. How long the earth has been parched when refreshing rain comes to bring new life. And a new seed time and a new harvest to the fields. Doesn't matter.
It doesn't make any difference how long we've been thinking toward that which we don't want. The moment that we consciously use the law towards what we do want, the cause has been set in motion. That in that moment, right? And you can do this. You can do this. We teach all kinds of tools and techniques here in all of our classes on Sunday mornings. Meditation, one of the reasons why we're introducing all these new meditation times is because one of the things we learn in meditation is the discipline of our minds and our emotions, and recognizing that there is an us, an I, that can actually see and observe those and not get overtaken by them. So we have Karen has a foundations class coming up. If you haven't been in foundations yet, or you haven't taken foundations for 3 or 4 or 5 years, this is a great opportunity to jump back in. These are the places where we learn these tools and techniques. Now, my experience with these tools and techniques is it takes in foundations, it takes us 12 weeks to teach you the basics. Is that enough? What do you have to do after that? You have to practice it, right? Which is what all the other classes are about. Practice, 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 practice. You get into class, and then every week, week after week after week after week after week, you have to remember, oh, right, I was supposed to be disciplined with my thinking. Oh, right, I was supposed to dwell on the good. Oh, right, I was supposed to remember that God is all there is, and that love is right where I am. Oh, right, oh, wow, I'm remembering. Wow, I'm remembering. I'm practicing it. I'm practicing that discipline. And we started listing all the examples of all the people that we know, just even in the last few years, that have gone through the classes or come and have had this experience of beginning to see demonstrations. Well, Deb's moving to Houston. Right? And following that experience, we've had people who've manifested jobs and homes, and you had one that just came up just the other day.
Yeah, last Sunday, actually, someone from the previous foundations class came through the line, said hello, and I want you to meet my manifest boyfriend.
Right?
This person wrote it in the letter. I'm not going to look over there in case they're here. Anyway, so wrote it in, her letter, and it arrived, and boyfriend arrived too, right? And so we've had people that have gone from cancer to wholeness to physical well-being and health, heart attacks, all kinds of things.
People have manifested all kinds of new ventures, business, otherwise, creative, otherwise. Right? So these are all very specific things. But what I also know is the number of people who, it certainly was my experience, when I came into Science of Mind, I was a hot mess. Ooh, man, it was not pretty.
You didn't want to know her then.
It was not pretty in a lot of ways. And over the course of learning these principles, beginning to understand the tools and techniques that would teach me how to use them, and then the practice of them, my life is completely different. So, for those of you who have been in Science of Mind for some period of time, let's say 3 years, 5 years, some period of time, I want to ask you, has your life, not just specifically, I've demonstrated this and manifested that, but by using the law and the principles, is your life appreciably different now than it was when you first walked into a Science of Mind community?
Please stand
If
up.
that's true for you, would you stand up?
Okay, I want you to look around at yourself. I want to take a picture. I don't have a cell phone. Can I have a cell phone, somebody? Hand me a cell phone. Manifest a cell phone.
They're also good.
Well, you have to
right?
open it, I'm sure.
So, but look around. Do you see? So sometimes we get confused and we think this is only about manifesting stuff, right? But we learn quickly that manifesting stuff is good, but it doesn't necessarily fill the God-sized hole. What we really want to do is manifest a life that works. Right? We want to be happy and whole and sane and doing the kind of work that pleases us and really have a good, happy experience of life. I want you to look around at what happens when we practice these principles. I just love this. I just want to acknowledge each and every one of you. I want to acknowledge because here's what I know. I know how hard you've worked to be in this place. So let's just acknowledge each other. Thank you. You may be seated.
So now, for all of you who didn't stand and you're just coming into Science Mind, maybe this is your first day to even walk into this community and you want to use the law. You're clear on your desire that what Dr. Peter just said is that your life appreciates appreciably. Stand up.
Say that again. I think we got lost.
Well, there were people that didn't stand because they're sort of new,
right,
or they haven't been here 3 years, or they haven't really felt like it's appreciated their life.
Right?
Did I say that correctly?
Well, it was that last little part that we didn't quite get.
I know. Anyway, that's a desire that it does.
If you desire your life to be transformed stand up. There you go.
There we go. Because we're going to hold that for you.
Right. Beautiful. Thank you for standing up, right?
Thank you.
Because you have the testimony of all the people who have stood up that TSRW.
This stuff really works.
This stuff really works if you work it. Now, the truth is you're working it all the time. What we're moving to is consciously using it. Do you see? The universe is opening up as you are using it. Karen's going to read us a fabulous quote about this. Go ahead.
Okay. So here's the great news, everybody. You can start today. Let's just take that in. Smile on the face. Know that this is true. Breathe it in. You can start today. Now, what I mean by that is for all the people that have stood up the first time, right? And that our lives have been so dramatically transformed, we also get to participate because we get to grow it and expand it and do more with it than we have before now, right? And so you can start today and build a new law of attraction within yourself. You could so recognize the presence of life in everything you do, say, and think that you can create a new environment, new circumstances here, now, and quickly. No one else can do this for you as well as you can do it for yourself. Then decide to think happiness and peace. Keep this secret within yourself. It is sacred to yourself. It is the true holy of holies within you. The secret is you have the power. You do not have to beseech life to be good or to bring good into your life. Life is like the sun. It shines on everything.
Yeah, breathe that in. Do you see the universe is on your side? Life is seeking to unfold in your favor. The law wants to say yes. And your desire for a whole, happy, sane, fulfilled life that is not chasing after things outside of you to make you happy, but is expressing in an overflowing joy with those things that you are creating, that is the universe's impulsion as you. That is what the universe is seeking to be as you. You are the place where the universe is actually awakening to the fact that it is creative. And up until this point, the creation of life itself has been on that sort of macrocosmic, somewhat generic, statistically oriented way. But when we wake up and are conscious about how to use the law, do you see, we are actually furthering life. We are now the place where evolution is happening. We are the place where new creativity is unfolding. We are the place where more love, more joy, more hope, more abundance, more health, more good is seeking to express itself in ways it's never been expressed before, for ourselves, for our loved ones, for the world as a whole. Do you see? This is what your life is about. This life right here, this is your playground. Every time that you experiment with something that grows your heart, fills your soul, gives in some amazing way to somebody else, lifts lives, fulfills passion, every time you do that, you are fulfilling the life of the divine in a way that only you can. This is your sandbox. You are not here to fix what is broken within you. You are here to grow the most magnificent life that you can imagine. And the law is on your side. Let us pray. So just inviting us to take that in, remembering that there is a power and a presence, a life and a love that is the fundamental impulse of everything, all of creation. That this infinite power and presence is love and joy and beauty. It's wholeness and light and life, joy, abundance. And it is forever seeking to express itself in creation. And it is awakening in us, in you and me, this life right now, right here. So let us take a moment to breathe that in. I am a place where the universe awakens. Every person has the opportunity to awaken. And this morning we affirm and declare that we use this law now consciously for good in our own lives, for good in the lives of those around us. That we seek to align ourselves with the good that is forever impelling itself through us as love, as the presence. We choose that. We dwell on that. We discipline our consciousness to be about that. And as we do that, life flowers. Our life flowers. All life flowers. Our planet is renewed. People are restored. Life is brought into its health and wholeness in ways that we can't even imagine, because we are aligned with that infinite power and presence. And if you, like me, stand with me in this truth, let us affirm it together by saying, and so it is.